Good afternoon, everyone. Alongside Ashley Nagaoka, I'm Ian Shuring, subbing in for Jonathan Soppy on this Monday afternoon. We're going to start today by following some breaking news in Manoa.
That's right. The University of Hawaii announced today that it will require all students who want to be on campus in the fall to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Our Mahea Lani Richardson is live at UH Manoa with the latest. Mahea.
Well, Ash and Ian, this is the first public institution in Hawaii that we know of that will be mandating the vaccine in the fall. So what does this mean for students, this student mandate? It means if they want to come to in-person classes in the fall, live in the UH dorms, or participate in any on-campus activities, they must have the vaccination by the fall. Now, there is a medical and religious exemption that students can apply for, just like other vaccines. If the student does not want to be vaccinated, the university says that they could still enroll in online courses. Now, there is a big caveat to this vaccine mandate for UH students. One of the vaccines, either Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson, must receive the full FDA approval for the vaccine. So no longer under emergency approval. At least one of the vaccines must receive full FDA approval, and that's expected to happen sometime this summer. Now, we are at the campus center, and we've been talking to a lot of students about this upcoming vaccine mandate. There are diverse opinions. Some are for the vaccine mandate. Others are completely against it.
Safe on campus.
And have you gotten vaccinated yourself?
I have, yes.
What does it make you feel more comfortable about coming back to in-person learning? What do you think about going back in the fall?
I'm excited. I would like to come back in the fall. It's going to be my last semester, so I would like to be in person.
I think that they shouldn't be able to tell people what to do because it is our own bodies. So we should be able to make that decision for ourselves.
And your decision for yourself was to get the vaccine?
Yes.
And so you're okay with the vaccine itself, but you just don't want it as a mandate for everyone else.
Yeah, because it is our own bodies, like I said before.
Now, for other students who said that they were against the mandate, they just didn't want to go on campus. They were either against the vaccine itself or against the mandate. Some of those students didn't want to go on campus. Now, in a news release today, President Lasner said, quote, "It is clear that a vaccinated campus is a safer campus for everyone, and a fully vaccinated community enables the best opportunity for a healthy return to high quality face-to-face teaching, learning, and research." Now, President Lasner went on to say that the decision does not come lightly and is based on guidance from our own Health and Wellbeing Working Group, as well as the American College of Health Association recommendation that all on-campus college students be required to be vaccinated. Now, last month, I had an exclusive interview with President Lasner just last month when he said that the university was seriously considering this mandate, and there were many factors to consider, including legal considerations, how they were going to verify this, union considerations. And here's what President Lasner had to say last month.
This is something we're seriously looking at. We have quite a few parents in particular saying, please tell me you're going to have a vaccine mandate. I want my kid to be safe.
Now, you may recall the University of Hawaii during this pandemic has dealt with at least 2 public outbreaks that we know of. One was in the UH dorms, and the other was amongst the football team, which caused a temporary pause in spring practice. Also just today, Chaminade University sent out a statement that it will not be mandating the vaccine, but it is strongly encouraging people to get it. Back to you guys.
Mahea, thank you. What about UH faculty? Are they going to be required to get the vaccine once fully approved?
Well, the University of Hawaii on its website says it will possibly be mandating the vaccine for employees, and it is currently going to start discussions with three unions that involve employees here at the university. And last month when I talked to President Lasner, he said at least one of those unions is saying that any vaccine mandate must be negotiated with the unions.
Mahea, do we know how many university and campuses across the nation have mandated vaccines for their, student body?
Well, there are more than 2,500 university and college campuses across the nation. Right now, according to the Chronicle of Higher Education, 361 colleges and universities in the United States now currently mandate the vaccine for its students or faculty, and that number is growing. Last month, the number was only 64, so more college campuses are starting to mandate this vaccine. When you look at the numbers, it is a mix between private and public institutions. I took a look at the map today, and most of the institutions that are mandating it are on the West Coast, like the UC system. That was one of the first to mandate it. The northeast coast of the United States, there's a lot of schools that are mandating it there. Also, the schools that tend to mandate the vaccine are the blue states or Democratic states as opposed to the red states. Ash and Ian, back to you.
Mahealani, thank you so much. Terrific reporting. UH President David Lasner has called a 1:30 p.m. press conference to discuss this mandate. We're going to carry that live on our digital platforms.
Yep. Meanwhile, Chaminade University says it's not requiring vaccinations for its students. Officials, though, are strongly encouraging their student body to get vaccinated before the upcoming fall term. Now, we have the latest coronavirus numbers just in from the State Department of Health. We have 83 new infections today and no new fatalities. 7 cases on the Big Island, 8 on Maui, 62 on Oahu, and 6 people diagnosed out of state. Plus, we're also learning more about the country's efforts to help vaccinate the rest of the world. Here's President Biden.
Today, I'm announcing they will also share U.S. authorized vaccine doses of Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson & Johnson as they become available with the rest of the world as well. These are vaccinations and vaccines that are authorized to be put in arms of Americans. And by the end of June, when we will have taken delivery of enough of such vaccines to protect everyone in the United States, the United States will share at least 20 million of those doses, that extra supply, with other countries. This means over the next 6 weeks, the United States of America will send 80 million doses overseas.
The doses will come from existing stores of the Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It will also mark the first time the U.S.-controlled doses of the vaccine will be shared overseas, as demand for it has dropped significantly in recent weeks.
Meanwhile, more vaccination events are being held at Hawaii's public high schools this week. Queens Health Systems is holding a free clinic at Lelehua High today until 4 p.m. Hawaii Pacific Health will be at Radford High School. And Kaiser Permanente is vaccinating students, families, and staff at Kaiser High School. Campuses will serve as vaccination sites through the end of the school year. We have more information posted at hawaiinewsnow.com.
There are also vaccinations available on Kauai. Hawaii Health Systems is distributing shots at both Kauai Veterans Memorial Hospital in Waimea and Samuel Mahelona Memorial Hospital in Kapa'a. You can sign up for an appointment online at kauai.hhsc.org. You can also call about walk-ins. We're told they will sometimes have extra doses at the end of the clinic.
There are at least a dozen known cases in that COVID cluster on Molokai this morning. State Representative Linda Coit says none of those who had been infected had received the vaccine. DeCoit tells us no Molokai General Hospital staff are infected and the facility is safe. The hospital says it found out a contractor from Maui tested positive on Tuesday. 4 others who were working in the same area also received positive results. We're told that area was closed. Some test results are still pending, but 7 additional positive tests are from community spread. DeCoit says 2 are students at one of Molokai's schools. A free testing event is being held at the hospital tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. No appointments are necessary.
It's been almost a week since Hawaii launched its inter-island vaccine passport program. Sammy Selena has more on how the program's going.
About 9,400 folks have received that vaccine exemption since that program started on Tuesday, and you can tell from the busy airport behind me that people are taking advantage of the program. That number is from the Safe Travels data on the state's COVID-19 platform. Travel experts say residents will be more likely to help the economy of neighbor islands because they can skip testing requirements.
Now that we don't have to do that, that's an extra $300 each that we might have in our pocket to spend, say, in a mom and pop store or a restaurant. So that money now goes directly to those businesses on the outer islands.
Travel was also up last week from the week previously. The week of the 3rd, we saw 179,000 people screened, and that included trans-Pacific and inter-island travelers. Last week, we saw more than 204,000, and that's according to the same website. He said the industry is adapting to the growing number of tourists, and in some areas, we're still behind. Take rental cars, for example. There's a major shortage right now, and Agrusa doesn't see that changing soon. But he said that this is good for Hawaii. Things like the vaccine passport and new flights, that's going to open up opportunities in this industry. Sammy Solina for This Is Now.
Federal health officials appeared on the Sunday morning talk shows to clean up their messaging regarding masks. This as the CDC now recommends that most Americans don't need to wear them as long as they've been fully vaccinated.
I think that people who were not inclined to wear a mask were not inclined to wear a mask before Thursday. In terms of the honor system, people have to be honest with themselves. You're protected if you're vaccinated. You're not if you're not vaccinated.
Only 37% of Americans are fully vaccinated at this time. The CDC's recommendations do not override state rules. That's why Hawaii's mask mandate is still in effect. Despite updated guidance on mask wearing, the CDC says schools should continue using them until the end of next academic school year. Officials say it's because all students won't be fully vaccinated by the end of this year. Children under 12 aren't eligible to get the vaccine in the U.S. just yet.
An alarming new study is shedding light on the toll the pandemic has taken on America's teachers. A Maryland-based company says 54% of teachers polled in a recent survey said they have thought about quitting within the next 2 years. That's about 20% higher than it was before the pandemic. Almost 40% say they're either somewhat or very unsatisfied with their jobs, and nearly 90% of all teachers said their jobs were more stressful now than they were before the pandemic. As the CDC continues to advance its mask-wearing guidance, tourist destinations like Las Vegas are evolving too. Billy V has more on what's going on in Sin City.
Many casinos in Las Vegas are moving to 100% capacity and dropping their mask mandates for fully vaccinated people. Those who are unvaccinated are still required to wear face coverings. We're compiling a list of casinos that have dropped or made changes to their mask policies. Let's start with one of the hotels that local people go to the most, the Cal. Vaccinated guests do not have to wear masks anymore. Unvaccinated people still have to wear a face covering. This goes for all Boyd properties, including Main Street, Fremont, Sam's Town, the Orleans, and more. We also know that all MGM resorts, and there are a lot of them, change their mandates. This includes MGM, Grand, Bellagio, Mandalay Bay, Luxor, Excalibur, Aria, New York, the Mirage, and others. And workers won't ask guests for proof of their vaccination status. Employees, though, still need to wear their masks for now, even if they're fully vaccinated. Caesars, which also operates several casinos, won't require fully vaccinated guests or employees to wear masks. These properties include Caesars, Palace, Rio, Flamingo, Paris, Planet Hollywood, and Harrah's, just to name a few. Those who have not been vaccinated still have to wear a face covering. And it's the same over at Wynn, Encore, the Cosmopolitan, and Treasure Island. The state of Nevada followed CDC guidance saying masks are not required outdoors and most indoor locations for fully vaccinated people. Businesses, however, can still make face coverings mandatory.
In other news, there is no end to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in sight. At least 200 Palestinians and 10 Israelis have died, and the rockets are still firing. Ian Lee reports from London.
Rescuers pull a 6-year-old girl from rubble that used to be her home in Gaza City. Susie Eshkatana was trapped for 7 hours before being reunited with her father Riyadh in the hospital. He says he put his kids to bed, and that's when an Israeli bomb hit. From under the rubble, one of his young sons cried out for him, "Daddy, Daddy," but he couldn't reach him. Susie is all Riyadh has left after his 4 other kids and wife were killed. The past 48 hours have been the deadliest so far, with dozens of Palestinians killed, including at least 8 children. Israeli warplanes unleashed dozens of airstrikes this morning, including one allegedly killing an Islamic Jihad commander. Almost nowhere is safe in Gaza. An airstrike leveled this building housing foreign media, including the Associated Press. AP's top editor is demanding an investigation. But on CBS's Face the Nation, Israel's prime minister defended the bombing.
An intelligence office for the Palestinian terrorist organization housed in that building that plots and organizes the terror attacks against Israeli civilians. So it's a perfectly legitimate target.
Hamas responded to the weekend attacks with a barrage of rocket fire. Israel intercepted most of them, but several got through, including one that killed an Israeli man near Tel Aviv on Saturday. Ian Lee, CBS News.
Today is the deadline to file your federal tax return for 2020. The deadline was extended to May 17th this year due to the pandemic. Hawaii residents who did not file a tax return for 2017 are urged to also file that return today. The IRS says there are unclaimed tax refunds for thousands of Hawaii residents from 2017. Those refunds total over $7.8 million. Let's take you live outside now with a look towards Aloha Tower. Beautiful on this Aloha Monday. What does your work week forecast look like? Let's send it over to our friend, Guy Hagi.
How's it on this Monday? The beautiful weather that we had over the weekend will continue into the middle of the week, if not beyond that. That does include some windward and Mauka showers. They will be light. They'll be moving through rather quickly, occasionally spilling onto leeward sides. But rainfall totals will be insignificant, mainly because whatever rain comes through will be moving through rather quickly. That limits the rainfall buildup. So already the trading is running swift, and they'll get even stronger as the day progresses. So today, a textbook trading weather day. So cloudy, a few showers this morning, drying up by midday. But even in the midday hours, we'll see some passing showers from time to time, but really insignificant rainfall totals. The surplus of trade winds continues, though. And because of that, we'll likely see some rough and choppy conditions on the east side. And heads up, we're looking forward to an afternoon rise in the country that's going to peak by tomorrow, although it's not going to be all that big. So the trade wind weather is going to continue at least until Friday, maybe even beyond that. We won't see a whole lot of rain, but it won't be totally dry either. Lots of sunshine intermixed with a few passing showers coming in from time to time. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
Thank you very much, Guy. Hokulea and Hiki-Analia are delayed off Maui due to rough weather. The canoes are on a training voyage to the doldrums. The crews are waiting for weather to clear in the channel between Maui and Hawaii Island. Master Navigator Nainoa Thompson says very strong winds funnel into the channel from nearby mountains, making for a strong current and dangerous waves.
It's not like the wave is coming at you when it hits the canoe. Many times it's coming down on you. It's so steep, so tall that it breaks down on the canoes.
The cruise will depart Lahaina is Tuesday, weather permitting.
And a programming note, we have a very special presentation tonight. The final installment of our documentary series, A Climate for Change, premieres tonight at 7 on K5 as well as on our streaming platforms. The 2-hour film focuses on Hawaii's food vulnerabilities, specifically about how nearly all of Hawaii's food needs to be shipped in.
If you do miss that special presentation tonight, we are going to carry it on demand on all of Hawaii News Now streaming platforms, Apple TV, Roku, and on Amazon Fire.
All right, let's see what the internet's talking about, you guys. One of the most successful TV sitcoms is making a long-awaited comeback. According to CNN, Friends, the reunion, will debut on HBO Max on May 27th. The event, which brings together stars Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, Matthew Perry and David Schwimmer was supposed to be a key part of HBO Max's launch last May, but was delayed because of the pandemic. Very excited about this.
I know you are. I've always been more of an Office fan in terms of
Right.
like the all-time comedies, right? What is the game that we play
Heads
with
Up.
the heads up, right? Friends is the favorite, right? Everybody tries, and I just kind of
Yeah, you sit back and
we'll do
twiddle
something
your
else.
thumbs.
Speaking of reunions, though, one that I'm much more excited about. Fans of Pulp Fiction, a little something for you today. For the first time in 27 years,
Wow.
John Travolta and Bruce Willis are making a movie together, and it's happening on Maui. The movie is called Paradise City. According to Deadline, Willis is going to play a bounty hunter who needs to navigate Hawaii's crime world to seek vengeance on Travolta's character who murdered his father.
Ooh.
In Pulp Fiction, of course, Willis plays Butch Coolidge. Travolta played the legendary Vincent Vega. Any movie, just honestly, any movie that can be described by a character seeking vengeance, something that I could be in.
Let alone Bruce Willis.
John Wick,
Oh, yeah.
just all of them, I'm just in. Chuck Russell is the director of this movie. He also did The Mask with Jim Carrey and The Scorpion King, which was The Rock's feature film
Right.
debut.
I'm excited about that. I love those two guys. And remember the story last week we told you about a tiger that was on the loose in Houston? Well, the 9-month-old cat was missing for nearly a week, but was finally caught on Sunday. Instead of going back to the house where it was being kept as a pet, India is headed to the Black Beauty Ranch in North Texas. Now, it'll go into quarantine for 30 days, then get introduced into a much bigger habitat than the small backyard it used to call home. Black Beauty Ranch is one of the largest and most diverse sanctuaries in the country, and it's operated by the Humane Society of the United States.
I read about this over the weekend about how a man in Houston, or in the Houston area, was sitting down for dinner last night. The tiger was still on the loose, and he just looks out his window. And can you imagine, like, I know people who live across the U.S., you'll see bears, right? You'll see deer.
Alligators.
You'll see, if you live in the southeast,
Right.
you'll see alligators. But imagine looking out in your front yard, and there's a tiger just laying, a young one. He's clearly not very big, but imagine seeing there's a tiger in my front yard. I don't.
Did I eat something?
And he grabbed his phone first, but rather than calling 911 immediately, he did what I think we would all do.
Oh, absolutely.
Take as many pictures for Instagram as we can, then we'll call 911.
Right. How about some good news, you guys? This week, the city and county of Honolulu is honoring Oahu's 250 paramedics and EMTs who save lives every day.
It's a week where we can thank our paramedics, EMTs, dispatchers who are here for everyone in the city and county of Honolulu 24/7 all year. And it's been a challenging 14 months for us as well as for a lot of other people. When I think back to this time last year, we had a lot of uncertainties with COVID and if our teams were going to get infected and what was going to be the future. And I feel that with the training and the PPE and the support, they did fabulously.
These folks have answered countless calls in the spirit of dealing with this disease and helping save lives. It's been a really incredible experience. And I think we now probably, hopefully all of us, maybe more so than ever, appreciate the incredible work that they do.
Mayor Rick Blangiardi presented a proclamation designating this week as Honolulu Emergency Medical Services Week. Honolulu Hale is also illuminated in light blue all week, representing the EMS Star of Life.
A beautiful thing. Finally today, a new Miss Hawaii has been crowned.
And the new Miss Hawaii 2021 is Miss Chinatown.
There it is.
Woo-hoo! Congratulations, Courtney Choi. It was a big weekend for her. She also virtually graduated from the